Hey there, I'm Becky, and welcome to Literary Escapes with me, Becky. So today I've got a special treat for you. I'd like to introduce you to author Candace Colt. If you haven't met her before, you are in for a magical treat. So let's dive in. So welcome, Candace Colt. I am so excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Becky. It's great to be here, and I appreciate that you invited me. This is great.
It's a lot of fun, and the podcast is about literary escapes, and so books that take you different places, make you feel like you've had an escape, and I feel like yours is such a perfect fit for that.
Thank you.
So I was poking around on your website, and it says that you write feel good, sweet romances, lovable, magical characters, and enchanting small towns.
Yes.
And that's everything I love. So
excellent. And I sort of fell into it by accident, but I can't get out. The characters have captured me, and they all have a story to tell. And I've moved. This is my third small town, and this one actually I own. I'm now an indie writer. Before I was in two other universes.
Okay.
But those small towns I'm of a mind that the small town is the main character. And
especially when you do the series.
Yes. And that's where your characters live and evolve, and that's the influence. It's just like in real life, if there is such a thing, you're influenced by where you live, your surroundings, your culture, everything.
Well, and when you walk around town, people, there's businesses you love to go to. And
sure. Absolutely.
And it's the same thing in those type of books, which is so fun.
And that's half the fun. Of course, you can invent it, and you don't have to pay for, construction, or you don't have to pay for
don't have to pay taxes,
permits, or city councils. You can just build it. You can make it 3-story if you want, or 2-story, or 1-story,
whatever you want. Yeah.
and I kind of fell into the paranormal business too, because my first writing experience was being invited into Nocturne Falls universe with Kristen Painter.
So how did that happen if you weren't a writer?
I was a writer, but not getting published. And I was trying too hard to publish in genres that didn't fit. You know what I mean? You've probably heard authors say that a lot.
That's so interesting.
You thought you were this, so you try to write this.
Mm-hmm.
And so a friend of a friend referred me to Kristen, and Kristen took a chance on me, and I will forever be in her debt for that. And I read most of her things anyway, so I kind of knew where she was coming from.
She has the Nocturne Falls universe, right? Okay.
Yes. Well, she's got a lot of things going on. She's got the Shadow Veil thing going on. She's got a million things going on. But when she invented Nocturne Falls, that just intrigued the heck out of me. And particularly because it's in a country. It's in North Georgia. It's supposed to be like hell in Georgia, but we don't mention that. And so it's like a little mysterious town anyway, in like this enchanting area. And there's a waterfall, and there's this and that and the other. And then one day my characters just popped in my head after I got the invite. I said, well, what am I going to write? Right. And so I invented a little series within a series for that one, because nobody that I knew had ever written about falcon shapeshifters. So
I was looking at that. Yeah. And you've got 5 books in that series, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah. You kind of get hooked. I mean, you can't, you don't want to get out, because you got another story to know.
And you get attached to your characters and want to keep seeing what's going to happen with them. And
and I don't think readers understand that. We writers really are just we're kind of channeling it.
The conduit. Yeah.
We're not inventing it. They're just like, let me talk. So, and then she closed that one. And then I got into Catspaw Cove, which is a couple of authors from Central Florida.
Okay. And so who created Catspaw Cove?
Catherine Keen.
Okay.
Keen. Sorry, Catherine. And Winter Daniels.
Okay.
And they both come from traditional and indie publishing worlds. And they combined to form this new world called Catspaw Cove. And if you can get the hint, there's cats in it.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that.
And cats in it. And
Yeah.
so that introduced the idea of having a cat in the story. So I can't get away from that now. It's like the cats have
Nice.
called. They've come forward. And they all have as much magical ability as do the humans, the paranormal humans. And so that cat theme has to be in the series, thank goodness, because it's a blast to write. I
Yeah.
happen to live in a town that goes by the nickname Dog Eden. I live in Dunedin, Florida, which is over on the West Coast by Tampa.
Okay.
But it's nicknamed Dog Eden because
that's so
everybody
funny.
has a golf cart and a dog.
And a dog. Yeah.
I do not have a golf cart and I do not have a dog, but I
You
like
can
dogs.
appreciate that.
I
Yeah.
can appreciate it. But I'm a cat person. Had
So
them for
this
years
fit
and years.
perfectly then, huh?
Yes. And they're very psychic. People don't know that don't have that. But, you know, I just introduce a little piece of that in all of my cat characters.
Nice.
So you have the town, you have the cat, and then you have the humans.
And the town in both of these was already created. You just
Yes.
bring your
Yes.
people into it,
Yes.
which is kind of
Yes.
cool.
That's cool. It also is a discipline too, because you can't go stupid in somebody else's town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you have to fit within the
You have to
parameters that have
fit.
already been set. Yeah.
Yes, and literally there are maps drawn for each one. So you know where the park is, you know where this is, you know where that is. And so
Right.
here's a street, there hasn't been a shop built here or something built here yet. So you can create your little domain and go from there.
Okay.
And so,
So
sorry.
no, when you write in somebody else's world, do you interact with their characters?
You can. Yes, you
Okay.
can. You have to be cautious about it so that you don't alter that.
Yeah.
You don't make them do something that the owner of the universe wouldn't do. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
I couldn't take one of Kristen's characters and turn her into the sister of one of my characters. You can't do
Right,
that.
right. But they can interact like in a shop, if,
Absolutely.
you know, that kind of a thing. Okay.
Absolutely. And
I would assume that that's kind of the point of the universe, is to bring
Yes.
your readers and their readers together. And
exactly.
yeah. Okay.
And Catspaw Cove, I did quite a bit of that because I needed this restaurant. I needed some place for these people to go eat. So they went to a restaurant that was already there with somebody that ran it so they could interact in it.
Fun.
But you have to have read those characters in the other guy's book
and know
so
them,
that you know how they'd talk or how they'd react. So you have to be real careful and cautious, but it's still a lot of fun because then the reader's like, I know that person. So it really is fun.
That is
but
fun.
Then when you create your own world, you can do whatever you want.
Right. That's where the real magic begins, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you're sticking to the paranormal theme though, right?
Yes, I am. I'll talk a little bit about kind of a juncture, and I got another invitation to do something completely different from what I'm used to. But yeah, I've started my own series. I created my own town. It's a beach town, kind of a knockoff of where I live.
Nice.
Only that, of course, I don't know. We don't know that half the world isn't paranormal. But, you know, in my particular new community, it looks like an ordinary town. But about half the residents are not ordinary. And so it's a little bit different spin on the universe idea. But anyway, number 1 is out. Number 2 comes out in 2 weeks. And number 3 is going to come out when it gets finished. Yeah. Because, you know, as you know, and everybody that's a writer knows, the advertising and promotion is serious work.
It takes a lot of time away from the writing time.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm not good about the time, taking time for this and time for that. I get into this and I'm there.
Yeah, and you're like full on. Yeah.
Full on.
Yeah.
But let me just kind of give you a hint now that we've finally got permission to talk about it. There's a really cool writer out there called Essie or Susan Smith, and she's a sci-fi writer. And her worlds are just phenomenal. And she and a couple of other sci-fis got together with another fabulous author named Carol Banata, and they've created Pets in Space. And if you've not heard of that, you have got to go. Pets in Space. And what's really cool about it is it is a charity for heroes.org. And heroes.org purchases dogs to help vets. Okay. And it's like, trust me. Yeah. And this is the 7th year that they have done this series, and it's always a collection of authors, I should say, anthology of authors that are sci-fi. Well, that's great. I've never written sci-fi, but I got an invitation through my dear friend Susan, who said, let me see what I can do. So behind the scenes, she made it happen, and here I am. So I have a little story, and it's pre-order stage right this minute. But I took one of my characters out of my new series. I have a crazy, she's wonderfully crazy older lady who's there's like the grandmother, the mother, and the grown children. And the mother is 40 something, but she is a complete airy-fairy witch. This is a witch family, but she's like, she has this special skill where she can meditate and go away.
Oh,
I mean, she's gone to Egypt back in the Pharaoh's day. She's gone all kinds of places.
How fun.
But this time, without giving too many spoilers, this time she lands in deep space. And so the story goes from there.
How fun. And so what's the pet that's going to be in yours? If it's
a cat.
Okay, of course.
Shocking.
Of course. Yeah.
Actually, there's 2 pets. She lands on a ship where the captain has a alien pet that can telepathically communicate with the cat. Because the cat's got all kinds of gifts anyway. So anyway, the black cat that starts out in my series jumps on board the spaceship. So
how fun.
You got to have a pets in space. You got to have a pet.
Well,
so
exactly.
She brings her pet. They meet his pet, which is a flying goat, of course. What else?
That's awesome.
What else? So
exactly.
Anyway, they meet, and it's I write sweet romance. If you look there, sweet, which means it's not steamy and it's not erotic. It's that middle ground that gives
you the feel goods without telling you about it all.
Yes, you learn more about the people, their emotions, and what they're thinking, and the action. And I'm not taking away from the other genres. I'm just simply saying. And sometimes it's hard to write sweet. But it's really hard to write steamy. So anyway,
it's funny how some people, authors tend to gravitate to like one or the other, and
absolutely,
it's finding where you fall in all of that is the magic.
Yeah.
So,
and what you can write and where your comfort zone is. So anyway, that's my little tagline. But these 2 critters kind of carry the story because they're the only way for a while that the alien and the witch can speak to each other, and then there becomes a way that they can, and they get lost in space, and it all comes out okay.
That sounds like a fun one. Wow.
Yeah. And at the end of the series, once they sell it for a certain time, and then the authors get their stories back, and then you can publish your story separately. So I'm thinking, well, it starts out with a witch lost in space. Why can't she just keep going in space? So I'm thinking some little novellas could
about
come
all
out of
that.
this too.
Okay.
All it takes is time.
I know, right? Because we all have an abundance of that.
I wish.
Good thing you have nothing else to do, right?
Nothing else. No. And some days I don't do nothing else, and some days I do everything else. So
finding that balance, that's what life's all about, isn't it?
Yep, for sure.
So you said that the Nocturne Falls universe is in Georgia, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then Catspaw Cove.
Yes, it's a fictional town on the east coast of Florida.
Okay.
Sort of between St. Augustine and Daytona.
Okay.
Okay. And it was started as a pirate adventure because pirates discovered it. But the cove looks like a cat's paw. So there's little islands, and then if you were looking at it with a drone, it looks like a little cat's paw. Well, from there we have all the characters, all the fun.
Nice.
It's just fun. And don't ask me where my stories come from, because I just couldn't tell you. They just kind of
just come, don't they? Yeah. So Baga Shores is on the west coast, you said, of Florida.
Yes.
And then Pets in Space obviously is going to be in space, so that'll be fun.
Yes.
Very cool. So are you a plotter or a pantser?
I want to say I'm a plotter, because that sounds like I'm an intelligent writer. I got an idea. Yeah, I start with characters. I start with my main characters, and they sort of come to me.
Nice.
who they are, how old they are, kind of a thing. I don't do the complete bio till later, but I like go,
okay.
Oh, hello, you want to talk to me? Sure, come on in.
Okay, come on in.
And then they just sort of evolve a thing. And then, there are certain elements that you have to have in a romance, paranormal or sci-fi or whatever kind of romance.
Yeah.
So certain things have to happen. You have to have a character that's got a problem and meets a character with a problem. They can't get together. They get apart. They can't get together. And they finally end up. So you got to throw problems at them, and you got to get into their psyche a little bit to see what. But I really do start with an idea in my head.
Okay.
What? Whoa. Wow, you might be and every so often I will see somebody on TV that I kind of think looks like my character. So I kind of like do a little behind the scenes thing there. There's a TV show called Ozark.
Okay.
And it's really weird. But anyway, I love it. And it's on Netflix or one of them.
One of those, yeah.
One of those. Anyway, there's a real bizarre little blonde-headed character in there. She's real Southern, and she's been doing a lot of stuff now. She's got a lot of stuff she does. And I took her and built a story around her.
Okay.
I said, oh, she's quirky as heck. So I took her and I just developed a whole storyline around her.
Oh, how fun.
So I will do that. I will see somebody. I will say, oh, you look like you should be a character in my book.
I love that.
And it evolves from there. Yeah, you got to have a story. And the worst thing in the world is I cannot write a synopsis. So don't even ask me for one. I read the book if you want to know.
You want to know what it's about? Read the book. Yeah.
Read the book. So, but I will try to write the blurb first. But I'm not good about that either. But
I've been reading that some people do, like they have their tagline, the blurb, and the cover, like all done before they even start writing. And
yeah, God love
such an interesting idea.
God love them. I know, right? I wish I could do that. Yeah. I kind of have the end in sight.
Okay.
I kind of know.
You kind of know where you're going. Yeah.
You got to have some idea, but you don't let that dictate it, because what if it goes a different angle down the road and you're trying to yank it back and it doesn't work that way?
Well, and you said there's certain beats, I think is what they call them, that you have to hit if you're doing a romance.
Yes.
Regardless of the...
I shouldn't promote this, but it is on my desk all the time.
Oh, I love that one. It's Carrie Evelyn's How to Binge Write Your Novel. Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? That works. I've gone online with every possible outline program.
Right.
Use this one's the Save the Cat.
There's a bunch of them out there. Yeah.
Oh my God. And they're all good, but a lot of them are so complicated that you can go off in the weeds and suddenly you can't find your way.
You have no idea where you're going. Yeah.
And the story isn't any good anymore once you plotted it so deeply. So I like her method, and I'm not here to promote it. I'm just saying I need a simplified version, because in today's world, you can't spend 3 years writing a book. If you really want to market, and you hate to say that 4-letter word, but if you really want to market, you got to have another one coming, another one coming, another one coming. Right. So if you spend your life on heavily detailed planning, and I love my sisters who can plot the whole series.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive when they can do that. And so, well, like when you started Baga Falls, you had to have an idea of like who's in your town.
Yes.
And so you have some formation already planned at least.
Yes. And I honestly, and each one of them, and I think I looked at it in reflection, not with intention up front. There's always an older, for lack of a better word, a crone in each one, in each story. There's an older, kind of keeps the sensibility, keeps the rationality.
Like the matriarch or whatever. Yeah.
And I sort of think it's me. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I think that's you. And I try to introduce some of my own, try not to be the mother, but there's a motherhood going on in the oldest character. So there's always that.
Nice.
And now they all have a little bit of magic in them. And they're kind of like the crone that everybody goes back to for the wisdom. So that's I kind of start with that kind of a piece. And then, her brood underneath is usually a mess. Because the new age, it's just like a millennial mess out there. No offense, millennials, but it's like they're just kind of foundering. They don't have their root yet, so they almost always have to come back to the crone and get that root, and then they go, oh, that's it, and then they can start their
nice. But I like that. Anyway. It's good. It's fun that like each series or each group that you put together, you have kind of, your people, your readers know that there's this
Yes.
basic format, even if the stories are completely different, the people
Yeah.
are completely different. There's this familiar foundation, I guess.
Yes, and everyone is different. In Nocturne Falls, it was the matriarch was a shape-shifting falcon mother.
That's pretty
And
cool.
then we had the second set, and the mother was retired, but she was a psychic.
Okay.
But she left everything to her kids and let her kids take over while she went over to a retirement community. And then in this new series, she is the crone witch, but she doesn't sit around and all draped in black. She has a
Yeah.
little. Basically, she runs an online course with international students of witchery. And
Nice.
her
That's pretty
apothecary
fun.
is very high tech. She has security cameras all over the place. She's got, she teaches students in Germany, here, there, and everywhere, as well as, making her potions and whatnot. But
I love that
she,
it's like taking advantage of the technology that
oh yeah,
we have,
yeah. And her younger generation just can't believe it, because the door has always been shut to her apothecary. They just thought it was magic. You kind of think of the dark and dreary, old, heavy,
Yeah.
lacy kind of thing. And one by one, they enter this as grown-ups, and they're like, holy crow, it's like a TV studio. It's like walking into CNN. You know what I mean? And
Wow.
it's like there's screens and there's people talking. And of course, she's magical. She can talk other languages. And, they always wander in like, holy crow, this is grandma.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
This whole nother world opens up to them.
Yes. Yes. And that's
How
kind of
fun.
an homage to try to remind the younger ones that it's okay. Your old grandma might have more going than you think.
That's right. That's right. They usually do. And there's usually some really good stories behind them too.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Worth chatting with them, not just writing them off. That's
Yes.
for dang
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
So where can people find you if they want to find your, if they want to hang out with you, I guess? Where's the best
Well,
places?
I'm everywhere. I'm on Instagram. You would ask me my address, I'd have to just point you to my webpage.
I'll put it in the show notes. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I am, of course, on Facebook. I have a readers group for those that are interested in that. Of course, I have my webpage. I have an Amazon author page. I am not on TikTok. I'm just going to out myself and say, I'm afraid of TikTok. I haven't
It kind of
yet.
freaks me out a little too, I have to say. I mean, don't
my buddies are
understand
on
it.
there. I'm doing good to get a Facebook story reel or something going.
I know,
I do
right?
like live Facebook. I can do live Facebook. That doesn't scare me anymore.
Yeah.
Podcasts, that doesn't scare me anymore. But TikTok is like,
it's this whole nother world. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Your Facebook group, what is it called?
Candace Colt's Reader Salon. Thank you.
Okay.
When it's in your face all day on your screen and you're popping in and out, you don't think about what do you call it?
I agree. Yeah. I will link all of that in
cool.
the show notes for this so that people can find
cool.
you. And do you have a newsletter that people can sign up for?
Oh yeah, if you go to my website, CandaceColt.com, you can't get away from that. It'll pop right up and it'll say, oh, please. And I have a reader magnet. My freebie read starts out my back. It starts out all of my Catspaw Cove stories and how that particular line of magic happened. Just a quick and brief side note, I found out because I love doing ancestry. In fact, that's what I was fiddling with when before we started today. Back. One of my great grandmother's times, I think 9 or 10, whatever, was one of the ones that was hung as a witch in Salem. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And it took me a long time to process that because I'm like, nobody ever told me that. But back up 50, 60 years ago, your parents didn't have ancestry.com and those stories died.
They do, yeah.
They were embarrassing too, because people didn't want to admit that kind of thing. Long story short, that's where the kernel of the idea for my psychics came from for Catspaw Cove, because my idea was, what if they were real witches? Now, my great was not. It was just a family feud and a bunch of hysterical teenagers. But what if they got wind of it, and what if they got out in time? So my psychic family took off when they saw things were getting bad and relocated to North Carolina. Then they kept going until one by one they got out of North Carolina. So you've got this whole string of ancestral gift that's passed down. So it kind of came from that.
Moving
That's
south.
Yeah, my reader magnet sort of starts the escape from Salem, basically. So it's
Okay.
cool.
That's fun. Yeah. How
Yeah.
interesting. And it's really interesting that you have some Salem, Massachusetts in your bloodline. That's super interesting.
It was really a shocker, because like I said, nobody talked about that. That's not in the family Bible.
Right.
Had a
Yeah.
great granny hung as a witch. And it was just really kind of a stunning revelation. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how crazy. Huh. So what are you working on right now? And what's coming out? You just had a book come out.
I'm working on promotion.
Yeah.
Number 1, number 2, and number 3. But number 3 book, I have characters that are coming out of my new Baga Shore series that are each one getting their own story. The first story launched, the second story will be available in 2 weeks. And then the third story is a little bit different. It's still paranormal and it's still from that town, but my third story is going to be a character who can speak to animals.
Oh.
And so ironically, she is a marine biology graduate student, and she
seems pretty perfect.
Yeah. She gets this really cool internship in a marine sanctuary, and it kind of goes from there.
How fun.
Yeah.
So what's the name of the first one that just came out?
The first one is Bewitching Andy.
Nice.
The second one is Charming Sabrina.
And is that on pre-order right now?
Yes, the second one is on pre-order, and they're all on Amazon. Right now, I'm exclusively Amazon because I'm not into doing promotion wide yet. It's all about me anyway, but the availability is Amazon right now.
Nice. Okay. Makes
And
it
if
easy.
you come to any of the local shows like Orlando Reads Books coming up next month, I'll be there and I can sell you hard copies, hot diggity dog.
There you go.
And then the third one will be Enchanting, oh, good Lord, in Bewitching, Charming, Enchanting Robbie. So
nice.
she's going to get enchanted.
Awesome.
And it's going to be hard because I want to keep the series going, but all of those words are tough to find synonyms for because they're all kind of witchy. And so it's really kind of hard to, you can charm, you can enchant, you can bewitch. Now what? So I've got some homework to do. Yeah. Yeah. But it'll happen.
Okay. It'll happen. You'll figure it out. I have no doubt. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Candace. This was a lot of fun talking to you.
Oh, thank you. This is great. I mean, these things are so much fun, especially when the host is so cool that, it just is conversation. It's not like, what do we talk about? I mean, it's just a flow. So
well, that's what I enjoy because you never know where it's going to go. And it's always a lot of fun. So
it's great.
Yeah. So good luck on the next release that's coming right up. And,
excellent.
Look forward to hearing about how that goes.
Sure will. Becky, thank you again.
Thanks for joining me today on the Literary Escape podcast. If you enjoy hearing the behind the book story, then join me in the Literary Escape Society. We're a community of travelers who love books, or maybe book lovers who love to travel. Either way, if you need an escape, a literary escape, come join us as we read our way around the world together, one book at a time. Check out the show notes to learn more about the Literary Escape Society. And we'll see you next time on the next episode.